If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you about it. It's free, which is amazing. And there are these really cool creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And you get to make money with no minimum listenership, which is really cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started right away.
Yoga teachers, mindfulness leaders, and energy workers, are you ready to stop side hustling and start making an income doing what you love? Welcome to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast. Each week, your host, Jessica Cross, dives into conversations with successful creatives in wellness, business, marketing, and more to uncover practical methods to take your business from A to B and have some fun along the way. Grab some tea and pull up a seat. Let's dive into this episode.
Welcome back to the show. It's Jess, and I'm so glad you're here for another episode of Marketing Off the Mat. You're in for a treat because we have the incredible Jules Mitchell on the show today, and we have so much fun talking about the pitfalls of marketing our online business. So Jules is a Las Vegas-based yoga educator. Her book, Yoga Biomechanics, Stretching Redefined, examines teaching yoga among the most current research in exercise science and applications of pain science. All of her continuing education programs, from webinars to weekend workshops, help teachers develop their craft and empower them with knowledge. Jules also runs a popular 300-hour yoga teacher training and a comprehensive mentoring program to support teachers in both education and business. You are going to absolutely love Jules. She tells it like it is, which you know we always appreciate here on the show. So let's dive in. Hey, Jules, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you for being here. I knew when we connected online that you'd be such a perfect person to have on the show. So thank you for your time and all of your expertise that you're going to share with us today.
Absolutely.
So we heard a little bit about you in the intro, but I would love it if you could tell us some more about you. And because I know it goes beyond the tip of the iceberg that we shared in the beginning. So tell us a little bit about you and your career journey and how it brought you to today.
Well, my career journey kind of started with me leading workshops in person on topics that were very interesting to me, you know, mostly like stretching and safety in yoga and biomechanics and that kind of stuff. And turns out lots of people were also interested in those topics. And so I just started getting requests to come to studios to teach that content. I had started by kind of hosting my own, I'd rent a facility in my area and host it. And so the more I agreed to come to studios, the more studios invited me, and it just kind of took off that way. Before that, I had actually taught anatomy workshops and teacher training programs for two different companies. And so I had a lot of experience doing weekend courses, you know, time management, all of that. And it just kind of filtered into my own. Then I started teaching my own content. So I was prepared for that. And I think it kind of set the foundation for how I wanted my business to look. And that was how I wanted my business to look. I wanted it to be, you know, traveling the world and teaching. And that's what I was doing. I was everywhere and I loved it. My nervous system was shot, but I loved it. And then while I was doing that, I've always liked technology. So I kind of, as a side hustle, did some webinars. And so I took my original Science of Stretching webinar that was my kind of flagship, you know, workshop. And I put that online as a webinar and tested out. I mean, I remember using Zoom for the first time when it was not even a thing, you know, because I tested out every time I'd offer it, I'd try a different webinar software to see which one I liked. And so, you know, we're all just kind of getting used to online stuff. So that was a big part of the journey. So when the pandemic happened, I did already have a small online presence. It was kind of my side hustle, but the infrastructure was there. I had experience in leading webinars. I hadn't done like a full weekend course, but I was doing my book club. So I had experience with time zones and recordings and all that. So it made it a little bit easier for me to pivot, I think, than for a lot of teachers, because I just had to take what I had and then, explode it 100 times. And so now I'm trying to get back to in person, but it's slow, and online will never go away now. So I'm just navigating.
Yeah. I totally agree. I feel like once we have made this massive shift that we have where things are online or hybrid in most cases, it's really hard to take that back once it's already out there.
For me, it's not even, so I don't do hybrid things because it's usually just me. I'm not traveling with all my equipment and all that stuff. It's either in person or online. But for me, it's more that the online business comes with actually a lot more time requirements on my end and financial requirements on my end. Like I've increased the level of software that I use. Everything is paid. I've migrated to larger platforms. So I can't just walk away from that because I have to pay for it every month, whether I'm running an online business or not. And that's what's different with in person, is the expenses are directly related to the course. And if the course doesn't happen, there are no expenses, that kind of stuff. Versus online, the expenses come every month, whether you're selling stuff or not. So I can't walk away from it. I'm tethered to it. And also a lot of it a lot of my stuff, like my teacher training, comes with one-on-ones and just the putting up the recordings. There's just a lot that goes into it that I think, the average person doesn't recognize. And I'm very attention to detail oriented. So everything has it takes a lot.
Yeah, it does.
I'm up late.
Yeah, it does for sure. That's a massive amount of time and resources that are dedicated to your online business. And props to you for being kind of poised for when the pandemic hit, because I know so many teachers just weren't.
Yeah. It was still stressful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I had 25 people paid in full to come to Las Vegas for a 300-hour teacher training. And we had to pivot the whole thing to online, and I was taking one-on-ones and people were crying. And it was not, it was stressful, but I don't think I was as jarred by the technology learning curve as many people were. I still did have to change a lot of things, but I'd already been using Zoom,
Yeah.
I'd already had a paid Zoom account. So it wasn't like, what is this?
Yeah. Oh man. And so, as you were kind of saying, you were already in the mix when it came to, the online marketing, online business world of yoga. And, that's kind of what we're talking about today is, the challenges of marketing your yoga business online. And as we've said, since the pandemic hit, it's pretty much changed everything about business and the massive portions of our business that now live online. I think there's a lot of inundation from the marketing community, the online marketing community, that has kind of realized that yoga teachers might need a little help, and sometimes they might take advantage of that. So tell us a little bit about the challenges of working in the online space and avoiding some of those pitfalls, because I bet you have definitely navigated some of this.
Some opinions.
Yeah, bring it on.
My biggest problem with the online marketing community that's now targeting yoga teachers is that they're selling. They're not selling yoga. And so it's like, my sister works in tech, and they have this term when they only use their own stuff called dog fooding, it's that. It's really easy for me to make a Canva template that says, put your idea here. Okay, well, that's not the hard part. The Canva template is easy. It's already done for you. All you need as a yoga teacher is someone to say, hey, there's this thing called Canva. It's a freemium product. You log in, pick a template, and change it to your font and your color. The idea is the hard part. And so when you're being sold marketing stuff that is where the content is just how to sell, it's like an empty promise, in my opinion, because that's not the hard part. Those are little, you know what? I taught myself in 2 days how to edit video in Adobe Premiere Pro with a YouTube video. The idea that yes, that sucks. And I know not all yoga teachers are willing to do that, but that's like someone selling me like, edit your video here, but I had to make the video. I had to actually come up with the video that was worth selling, the editing part. Like, so that's what I don't like about the online marketing community. And trust me, I've hired plenty of teams to help me market. And there are, teams out there that actually help you with the idea. And I think that's what yoga teachers need the most. They need someone to draw out of them what they're passionate about. At the end of the day, you still have to write the email campaign. There's no way of getting around it. So when someone sells you, here's a great email campaign, send 5 emails about something you care about. Okay, well, that doesn't help. You have to actually do the hard work, which is figuring out what you care about. And you know what I'm saying. So that's kind of my warning to teachers. Like, don't buy a marketing program that isn't going to help you with your actual content creation. Because the rest of the stuff, you can find online resources, you can find friends and colleagues to help you figure out how to edit a reel, like all that stuff. The hardest part is deciding what to create.
Oh, you nailed it. This is so juicy. Like, I so agree, because as you said, there are a million different ways, different templates, different YouTube videos, people that can help you make what it is that you need to make. But if you don't know what it is that you want to make and put out into the world, nobody can help you.
Nobody can help.
Yeah.
So like as an example, I have like a really small mentoring program. Like, takes a lot of my time because I give a lot of one-on-one attention. So I don't really, it's not a big program, but I've got someone in the program, and she wanted to do like a welcome email, like an onboarding email, so you get this like free breathing sitting course. And it's like, 5 or 6 1-minute videos that are totally doable, that gets dripped out, but like, I was obviously helping her with a little bit of the, formatting of the email, but really the most of it was creating the content. Like, that's where the help came. Like, she needed someone to be accountable. Here's my idea. I was like, okay, well, you don't want to send them 7 15-minute videos. That's too much. So we talked to, and then like, what do you care about? It was like, breathe easy, and pulling that kind of information out. And then at the end of the day, the rest of the stuff is just the tedious tech stuff that you either like or you don't. Like, no marketing company is going to make you better at formatting a MailChimp email. Like, you either like it or you don't. And I happen to like that stuff. So it's, it's fun for me to format things, and I know to test all the links and all that. But if you're impatient and don't want to send yourself a test email and test all the links, like, again, no marketing company will help you do that. You either do it or you don't. But the content, the content's what matters.
Yeah, that's what's going to keep people coming back, because, let's say you do send this email out and maybe you didn't test the link, but the content of it was so good that people are like, hey, Jessica, your link was broken.
The link is broken. Yeah, they'll tell you. Yeah,
I want it.
You learn your lesson. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what we're after. So how does someone, a teacher who's listening, how does someone discern between somebody who is selling them templates or protocols versus helping them actually, as you were saying in your mentorship program, develop what it is that they care about or want to share out into the world?
I don't know per se, because to me, it's just so glaringly obvious. If you're being sold things that say, put your idea here, that's not like, if you're being sold like packages on, like how to do this, how to do that, then I feel like that should be a red flag. Hire people that understand your particular niche. So like, interestingly, most of the people that I hire I actually know personally. I've hired like colleagues that do exactly what I do. I brought them in and, paid them marketing team fees, brought them to my house to do like a 3-day web redesign or something, because they understand the skills that are necessary, and also the tone for the audience. Like I have a very good friend of mine that's not in the yoga world at all. We've known each other for over 20 years. And I love him to death, but he's always telling me, oh, you need more bikini pictures on your Facebook ads, and I'm like, I can't do that in this. He's like, yeah, but my attorneys, they put pictures of islands on there, has nothing to do with law, and they get all the clicks. And I'm like, I know, but you're not understanding the industry. So I think it's really, yoga is so unique. And so it's really like getting someone that understands it and understands you and your niche. And so that, your friends are one of your best marketing resources, because I don't know how to say it. Like you can get help with marketing. And I do think that there are people that are more good experts at marketing, but if you don't have the content, then it doesn't matter what your marketing team is. And so sometimes I think you can get more content draw more content out with your peers and your colleagues.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You nailed so many points, and the bikini pictures is just making me laugh.
I mean, he's not wrong. It's just not my niche, and it's not what I want to portray. So, not doing it.
Totally. Absolutely. And I think that's, I see a little bit of a tangent, but I see some of that out there, it does work. If that's what you're going for, sure. Like, more power to you. Absolutely no judgment, for sure. But like, I see that a lot when I just see really pretty asana photos in yoga and on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? I want more. So it's like you were saying, spending time with people who get you and get yoga or your energy healing practice, whatever it is, to help you really hone in on what it is that you're trying to share.
And yes, and I like I said, I understand the bikini pictures, and I actually understand the pretty asana pictures, but that's not my market. That's the problem. It's not like if I draw that population in who's like impressed by asana in the very beginning, and then they get biomechanics education, like it doesn't, so yeah, the clicks might be there, but the customer satisfaction isn't going to be there. And I don't have time to manage that, because, like that's the type of stuff that would keep me up at night, so that's where I'm saying like the niche and the content, and obviously if you have a like super general population product, then that's a different conversation. That's not for me to advise, because it's not my world. I'm definitely very niche. And so I think this is a conversation for people who have a niche business.
Yeah. I like that. And, to add to it too, I think I say a lot to my clients and peers in the industry that niching down is a good idea in yoga. Yeah. I mean, of course, there are businesses where it is definitely said, as you said, more general and a wider lens or a wider net, but just having that differentiating point or the unique selling point, or however you want to describe it, is really what's going to set you apart.
Especially for solopreneurs, small businesses.
Yes.
The general population type stuff is really hard to do without a massive team. And so if that's not something that you're ready to take on, or can afford to take on, then niching down really helps keep you focused. Kind of keeps the noise out, and then like, again, even within my mentoring program, like, one woman is currently building a course, and it's like, she's still studying. So she's getting all this information, and I'm like, but you can't add that to the course, because now all of a sudden the course, you've lost the entire scope of what you're trying to say. You've got to build a story. And so that's where I think the niching down gives you focus, and it helps you kind of eliminate the noise.
Yeah, that's so smart too. I think we get excited when we're going through a new program or course and you're like, oh, I should add this and this. And then as you're saying, it just gets wider and wider
Yeah.
where we start to lose focus, and then it's hard to market
And
after
yeah, well, and then it's also, so A, it's hard to market, and then B, there's like a lack of customer satisfaction because they're confused. And I know this only because I did it. Like that was my science of stretching webinar that's now 3 hours started out as 6 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like I've shaved it down into 3 hours I've been teaching it now twice a year for like, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 years. I don't even remember, so long, but it keeps getting like shorter and more condensed and more condensed and more condensed because I'm just going right to the point.
Yeah. And I love that because it didn't stop you from starting. It didn't stop you from putting that out there.
No, it's always a mess the first time. You have to just start. It's always a disaster.
And we learn from that disaster.
Yes.
For
Yes.
sure. Well, I feel like you've given us so many tips, but I have to ask, do you have a couple of tips for folks that are listening who are wanting to market themselves in an authentic way? What would you offer to those folks as they're just getting started, or maybe they're pivoting in their business?
The basics, email, get email addresses. That's like number one. Social media is tough, I think. Lately I've been giving some advice to kind of solopreneurs, smaller businesses around social media, because I'm sensing that they feel like they should do social media because that's like a free marketing platform, but then they don't see results. And so then they say it's a waste of my time. And so I see there's either the people that go all in and just hope for the best, and don't grow followers because it takes forever and who knows what the magic formula is, and then there's the people that are tired of it and just reject it completely. And so I've kind of been building this narrative for people that to treat it not like the marketing tool that you think it might be, because it's hard to get sales through social media, but think of it more as like a resume. Think of it as like a modern version of a website where, if you're a yoga teacher and you're not posting on social media to sell your class, you're posting on social media so that people who come across the studio website and see that you're a new teacher and they want to know a little bit about you, they go to your Instagram and they learn a little bit about you. So like put things on there that share a little bit about who you are and what your teaching philosophy is, and think of it as like a repository of content that expresses to the world who you are, not I'm doing this to market this, because that's where I think the frustration comes in. It doesn't actually work very well for that for most people. Obviously, if you've got massive followings, it does work well, but for your average teacher that just wants to increase their class numbers, it's how unlikely is it that your post is going to actually target the people that within walking distance to that studio? It just doesn't work that way. It's going to go to your friends and your family first, and then but it is a nice place to show people who you are.
Yeah, those are amazing tips. Like I think we hear all about email is king. Grab the email list, or queen, however you want to say it. Grab the email, get them on your list, and then obviously you have to continue that relationship from there. But I think there's so much time and attention and just general conversation about social media being the place where it's at, and spending time in the DMs and putting your schedule out there every week in the story or whatever it is. And you made such a really clear and direct point where it's like, are those people that are seeing your posts the ones who are likely to walk down and into your studio class? Probably not.
But that doesn't mean it's not useful.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't have value. I have a friend in LA who teaches meditation. We've been friends since kindergarten. And she kind of got on the Instagram doesn't do anything for me, I'm done. And when I saw her recently, we had a little discussion about it, and I gave her this little resume thing, and she was like, that's actually a really good point. And so now because if you're a teacher and you haven't posted in 5 years, I'm wondering, are you even teaching still? So you don't need to post every day, unless of course you're trying to build an Instagram business. If you're trying to be an Instagram influencer, I'm not giving the right advice for that. I'm just talking about you running your normal little business in your community, or, with your small online corner of the world. Right. But then use it as a like, hey, this is who I am,
Yeah. I think there's a lot of value in that too. And I like that you said that you don't need to be posting every single day to share a little bit about what it is that you do. And, it doesn't have to be, 5 years in between posts, as you said, but it definitely can be, you don't have to be posting 3 times a day or once a day or even.
I post when I have the time.
Yeah.
Honestly. And it's like, it's urgent for me. So I also have this whole thing, like you only do what's urgent. So if you don't make social media urgent, you'll never post. So it is urgent for me. Like it is a daily consideration. Honestly, some days I post in the morning with my coffee, and some days I post in the evening with a glass of wine. I rarely post mid-business day because I have stuff to do. And so it's like, but sometimes I skip a day or 2 or 3 days or 4 days or whatever. And that's okay. It's because I was busy working or busy taking time off. But I do make time for it. It is like, it is an urgent part of my business. Like it's on my to-do list.
Yeah. And I like that you give yourself the space. It's like, it's urgent.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to it. It might happen today. If it's not tomorrow, just giving yourself the space to do that.
And the other thing I do is my phone is full of posts. So some of them are like ready to post. Some of them need a little editing or a little tweaking. But if I open up my phone in my gallery, I probably have 40 posts in there. And that helps, because if I had to just say, okay, I have an hour that I'm willing to give to this, because let's be real, reels take a long time. Then if I have to actually come up with the idea and film it and edit it and do the captions and I don't have enough time. So I'll like, it's kind of like batching, but not as formal, but like if I get an idea to film something, I'll actually stay and film 3 or 4 things. And, and then I'll just sometimes that's it. And I'll have 15 videos, because I didn't do it all in the first take, all on my phone. And then the next day when I'm drinking coffee, I'll go in and I'll delete the ones that aren't good, or and so like it's always part of a process. Because if I had to be like camera ready every single time I wanted to post, that wouldn't work either. So it's helpful, I think, to have ideas on your phone.
Yeah, I so agree. And thanks for the little peek behind the curtain there. Because, I think we might think that that's how, folks like you who are successful in the industry are getting things done is, we see, how you look perfectly camera ready and you have this amazing idea and you're like, that was, maybe last month.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just took off my lashes. I had lashes the longest time. I just posted something yesterday I still had lashes. I was like, oh, look that's so old. I don't recognize myself.
Oh, that's so funny. It's so true too. Okay. This is one of my favorite questions. So thank you for indulging me with this one. So if you could go back to any point in your career journey, or even pre-yoga, if you wanted to, what is something that you could whisper in your ear and give yourself a little bit of information, or something that would save you a headache or two as you have gained all of this knowledge throughout your years in the industry?
I think the first thing would be that to appreciate from the very beginning how like iterative an online business is. I think a lot of people get stopped because they're like, doing a website is such an undertaking. And it's like, yeah, it is, but I'm in the back end of my website every day. So getting a page up is not a big deal. Writing your bio sucks. Yes, I get it. So write 2 sentences and put it up. And then you'll be like, once it's up, it starts falling under that urgent list, and you start like changing things and tweaking things. Like my website needs so much work. but it doesn't, because it's up and it's functional. And, but I'll go in there, I'll be like, I don't like this picture, or I don't like this sentence. And I don't, and I'm constantly updating stuff. My little sister in tech, she's hasn't had a website for herself yet. And she's like, everyone has a website now, right? It's like part of your resume. And so she was just here last week, and we got the ball rolling for her. And of course, she like set it up, doesn't like the way it looks. Since then, she's done research on her colleagues' websites. I'm like, it doesn't matter, it's up, because now you can change it. It's always easier to edit something than it is, so I think that's what stops people in the beginning, is like, I don't want to set up an email list. I don't have anyone to put on it. Well, you know what? My first email list had my two best friends, my sister, and like, that's how it starts. And then but if you don't set it up, and you don't have to know tags right away, and because you don't even know what your business is going to look like, maybe. So how do you even know if you have the right tags? Just do something and figure it out. And then, you'll inevitably migrate tools. And so I think that's like, when you understand that as your business changes and grows, and you get more clear on what you're doing, that you will need to migrate to a new tool, that's your time to clean up things. That's your time to clean up your list and your tags and all that. And I think I didn't really fall into it, because I've just been in business so long that all of these like software as service tools weren't really available. Like, it wasn't the way it is now, so I didn't fall into it too much. But I advise a lot of new teachers, they want to like start out of the gates with the most expensive, complete, all-in-one tool. And I'm like, you're not going to get your money's worth. Like, use the free product for a while, and it's going to be messy. And you're right, it's not going to be perfectly organized on the back end, but it can't be. It's just part of the process. So I think that would be the biggest advice, is just do it. Like, you can clean it up later.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's so impactful too. I think we kind of think that these, the sales and service products that you were talking about, our websites are, kind of one and done, and they're living organisms.
Yes.
Forever.
Like, in my very early days, like, you have to make it work for you. And that's where it's like hard for me to say what I wish I would have done, because I actually like intuitively feel like I did an okay job, so I'm just sharing more what I wish other people would do, where I can help them. Like, in the beginning, when I first had online courses, because I was always, I had webinars, but I also had like pre-recorded online courses. I was building those. And in the beginning, I just let you download them, because I was traveling all the time. I was on the road teaching. I couldn't handle customer service emails. I couldn't handle, you lost your login. I really couldn't. I'd be on a plane for 36 hours to Dubai. Like, how am I going to answer emails? Even if the Wi-Fi works, it's not good enough to do that kind of work and log into, these kinds of tools. And so I just had it be where it was an automated download, and that, people were like, well, why would you do that? Now they have your content. I was like, it's what works for me in my business. Now you don't download anything. Now everything's streaming and whatever, because my business changed. I'm on the computer way more now. So I don't feel pressured into the like newest, coolest technology. And that usually means the most expensive technology, pick what works for your life and your business model, and, roll with it. And then I changed. Like, I had one download company and then I switched to another, and because I migrated. That's what happened. As my needs changed, I migrated.
Yeah. Oh, that's such good advice. Such good advice. Okay. So tell us, what kind of cool things do you have coming up that we can check out?
Online or in person?
Tell us both.
One of the things that happened this year is that after years and years and years of studying anatomy in a human dissection lab, I was finally offered the opportunity to run my own. So I'm now doing twice a year cadaver labs in Colorado, which is like the biggest privilege and really one of the highlights of my career. And that's obviously in person. Yes, I market it online, but it's in person. So I think that's really exciting. If that's something that you want to add to your education, check that out for sure. I've kind of organized the content in a way so it matters for yoga teachers. So it's a little shorter, a little bit more doable than some of the longer courses. And then just, my normal in-person courses. And then I've got all those same courses online. So, I've got my Science of Stretching webinar that I talked about. That's every January and July consistently. So, there's always the next two available for sale. So you can always just go look and see when they are and, save the date. I'm just kind of rolling out online courses, my yoga biomechanics courses once a year. And I just fit in what I can when I can. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we'll be sure to put all your links here in the show notes so people can check those out. And that dissection lab is incredible. Congratulations. I know you're going to serve so many teachers with this.
It's really great.
Yeah, it really is super cool.
And I obviously should have mentioned the mentoring program, that's but that's a really small niche. Like if you want to get in there with me, then that's what that's for. It's open enrollment. So you have to kind of reach out and be like, this is what I want.
Cool. That ensures it's very custom and bespoke in that way. That's awesome that you're doing that too. Well, thank you so much. So how can we find you? How can we follow you?
On my website, which is julesmitchell.com, super easy. And my Instagram's Jules Yoga, super easy. That's where I'm at.
Perfect. Well, this was super fun, and we're so grateful again for all of your time and your expertise. And I'm just so glad that we're connected, and I can't wait for folks to hear this episode.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. That was a really good chat. I'm so glad I got to spend some time with Jules, and I hope that you enjoyed sitting along with us as we were talking about the pitfalls of marketing our businesses online. So if you want to learn out a little bit more about Jules, you can check her out at julesmitchell.com. And also she's at Jules Yoga on Instagram. Definitely go visit her website to see all the incredible things that she has coming up, from her 300-hour teacher training to her mentorship program and her incredible dissection lab that is in Colorado coming up in the next few months. You're not going to want to miss that. So let me know, what did you think? What did you think of this episode? I'd love to hear more. So send me a DM on Instagram. It's at jessicacross.co. I would love to know what you thought. And if there's something that you would like to see or hear in future episodes, tell me a little bit more about that. Sending you so much love. Keep showing up.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast, and give yourself some gratitude for taking action in your wellness business journey. Please share this episode with someone you know who could use a fresh dose of inspiration. And we'd be thrilled if you would rate, review, and subscribe to Marketing Off the Mat on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Want to share an idea with Jessica? DM her at jessicacross.co on Instagram to continue the conversation, or find out how she can help you take the next right step in your business. Until next time, stay inspired and keep showing up.